looking for something. A new way, a new understanding, a connection, some comfort. You've got questions, and Light on Living puts the spotlight on all the answers so you can shine. Lift and lighten the load of life's challenges and learn simple and easy ways to live a healthy, happy life. You'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you. You're invited to hear new, see different, and feel more as Lisa shines the light on living.
Welcome, everyone, to Light on Living. I'm Light Coach Lisa, holistic nutritionist and life coach, helping to lighten the load of life's challenges. Okay, today's going to be a toughie, but a goodie. When is the last time you tried loving all the parts of yourself, even the parts that you thought were unlovable? You know, those parts you wish you didn't exist, that aren't socially accepted, those ones, you know, that you believe are different, that you feel ashamed of, or that you wish were just more like someone else's. That comparing judgment thing sneaks in, doesn't it? Well, you know what? You can access forgiveness, acceptance, and the connection to love all your parts. And that's really what this show is about today, because I got you to be ready for some body work. I want to welcome this wonderful, wonderful person that I've got right on the line here with us, Lloyd Burnett. He's a life coach, a spiritual teacher, and a writer. He supports healing professionals in getting their gifts out into the world and accessing their inherent right to be abundant. Lloyd offers free trainings on how to harness the power of fear and limiting beliefs so that you can effortlessly manifest financial security, deep love, and success. Lloyd, I've been anticipating this show for quite some time. I'm so happy to have you here, and so all the listeners can really experience just your leadership in loving all parts of ourselves, even the unlovable parts. Oh. Welcome, Lloyd. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Lisa. It's an honor to sit with you and to talk to your community, to connect with everybody today.
Aw, we just love having you here. I wanted to share before we just jump right in, because I know we will. I was really blessed enough to have a beautiful person in my life. She actually wrote one of the chapters in the book that we just came out with. There's a book. And Cherise, my just adorable, wonderful friend, and she just loves you. She follows you, and she listens to your work. And she said, Lisa, you've got to have Lloyd on the show, please. And so we reached out. So I want to thank her, but and thank you for that. So there's our love and appreciation circle going on here.
Yes, you know that it's divinely inspired when it happens with ease like the way it did. So yes. Thank you to all of the energies that came together to unite us today so that we can have this conversation.
Oh, well, thank you. And I think, you know, this whole topic about loving all parts of ourselves, even like that's one thing, but when you add in that tail end, even the parts that you never thought you could love or that are so unlovable, I mean, that's heavy.
Yes, it is heavy, but it's the juiciest part. It's the most delicious part of healing that anybody can give themselves. It's an absolute gift, because when we allow ourselves to love these parts that we've disowned, that we've abandoned, that we try to get rid of, that we try to pretend that we don't have, when we allow ourselves to bring love to these parts, we begin acting and living from a place of wholeness. And the main thing that people notice when they do this healing work, this parts work, and they meet these parts of themselves, the main thing that they notice is that they have a lot more energy. And it could be energy to kind of go about your day. That's definitely part of it. Energy to do work, to go to the gym, but energy to love others, energy to receive, life force energy, love energy, gratitude energy. You have so much more energy. Why? Because it takes a lot of energy to repress the parts of you that you don't like or that you think are unacceptable. It takes an incredible amount of energy to suppress these parts, because all information is available in the field. So there's nothing that we can really keep secret from others. It's like if you meet somebody and you can kind of tell that they're having a bad day, you can tell that something's going on. It's because all information is in an energetic field, and we can sense it. We may not know the exact details, but we can sense it. And so it takes a lot of energy to try and suppress and repress and oppress the parts of us that we don't want anybody to see. And when we allow ourselves to integrate those parts, we have a lot more energy that we can divert from suppressing those parts to actually living our life. And so it's like a load is lifted, a heavy burden is lifted off of our shoulders, and we're so much lighter and energetic and ready for life.
Oh my goodness, Lloyd, I have to tell you something. Do you know that the tagline to the show is "Lighten the Load of Life's Challenges"?
Yes.
When you said it. Oh my goodness. Well, every word, so I love picking up these words. I start by saying how this is heavy, and then you talk about life force and more energy, and then I talk about the pressing, and I just think about how all those words are so connected. And I have a question, and this is just popping right out there saying, are we, this takes work, to suppress and oppress and all you said there. Are we choosing to hide and keep these parts? Is it a conscious choice, or are we doing this? Are we, I guess we're responsible, but help me wrap my head around that one.
Mm-hmm. So there are different levels to this. There are conscious choices to suppress parts of us, and I'm sure that we can all think of examples of, I can think of one in my life that I was actually, I was journaling about last night. And in my family, there's kind of a wound around finances and around abundance and allowing ourselves to be fully abundant. And so what has happened over the years is that we've consciously tried to pretend like we have more than we actually do to fit in. So the parts of us that are living in this kind of scarcity mentality, we have consciously, I consciously do this many times. When I go to a beautiful place, I like to take pictures of it and share it with everybody. It's a conscious decision to show a part of me and to not show another part of who I am. So there are levels of doing it from a conscious level, and it can be something as simple as, you're sad and you don't want your kids to know that you're sad. Or you don't want your partner to know that you're sad. And so that's a conscious suppression of a part of you or of a transitory energy, a transitory emotion that wants to flow through you. And then you can go a little bit deeper, and there could be subconscious parts of us that they haven't quite come to our awareness yet. And so they're kind of buried in the shadow. They're buried in the dark. And we have to do some shadow work to kind of bring these parts to the front and center so that we can see them and begin the journey of trying to bring love and compassion to these parts. But yes, you're right. There are parts of us that are unconscious, and until we have somebody reflect back that part of us, because it's impossible to see if it's in our unconscious mind, it's impossible to see. So we need people to reflect that back to us, and that's what relationships are about. You meet someone, you're triggered by them. You're triggered by how much money they have, or you're triggered by how much love they have in their life. And if you allow yourself to investigate that trigger, that is how you dig into your own shadows, because that trigger that you're feeling with them, that anger around them when they're flaunting their money or they're flaunting their love, is a projection of what is happening within you. So you see the person, you're triggered by them, you get curious, okay, I'm feeling a lot of anger around Bob when he comes to the office and he's showing his new Rolex, or he's parading around that he just ran a marathon. What is this anger about? What part of me is angry that Bob has these things? What part of me feels that I don't have these things? What part of me is afraid of having money? What part of me is afraid of having physical health and vitality? What did I learn in the past that made me believe that I'm not worthy of having energy, I'm not worthy of having money? And so just by being triggered in relationships, you can ask questions to begin shining a light on your own shadow so that you can bring these subconscious, unconscious parts of you that are repressed and abandoned to the light and begin integrating them.
Oh my goodness! I feel like I just got a whole lesson right in that little chunk.
Yes.
That was so beautiful. I want to. Oh my goodness! I like literally just walked through 5 steps of healing there. I want to go back to there's just beautiful. In the beginning though, this is I really was drawn to this one when you said there can be you said a wound around, and you didn't say a problem, but when I had that image, like there's a wound around this problem, and when we see an animal or a person who has are wounded, you rush to help them, and you want to look, or maybe there's even a time where I know I've had a wound, and I'm like, no, I can't look. Oh my gosh, it's going to hurt more, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm thinking about that and saying, and then you talked about the shadow, which I'm going to ask you to explain shadow, and then wrapping it around the wound and the shadow. What if we get triggered by somebody reflecting something to us, and we are too afraid to look? How can we let ourselves know that maybe we're not safe to look at it?
Yeah, so there's a whole process in this healing journey that, a lot of people tend to skip some steps. And one of the main steps that I find most important is creating a sense of safety. So when you discover that there's a wound or there's a trigger for something, you may not be ready to look at that. And a lot of people will force themselves to look at it, to open their eyes, and no pain, no gain, just go after it. And other people will just ignore it. Well, there's a third option, and that third option is meeting the part of you that is afraid of looking at that wound, because there's a reason why a part of you is afraid of looking at that wound. And so getting to know that part, and I call those parts protector parts. They're afraid, and they're protecting you from looking at something that they are afraid will actually hurt you. So they're protecting you. They're not sabotaging you. They're not distracting you. They're protecting you. And so you meet these protector parts, and you find out all about their job. Why are they protecting you from seeing this wound? Why are they creating this fear inside of the body to actually look at this? What are they afraid will happen? And you, by just like if you had to support a child who is afraid of getting into a swimming pool, you ask them questions. They tell you they think that there are sharks in a swimming pool, and you get curious with them. You're like, oh, okay, look into the swimming pool. Do you see any sharks? You help them expand their vision so that they can feel a sense of safety and security before they actually look at the wound. It's not about just pushing through.
And on that, we're going to come back to sabotage versus protecting. I love this. We'll be right back.
The best of the holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Humanity Healing International is a small nonprofit with a big dream. Since 2007, HHI has been working tirelessly to bring help to communities with little or no hope. Our projects are not broad mandates, nor are they overnight solutions, but they bring the reassurance that no one is alone and that someone cares. To learn more, please visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me the Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
Welcome back to The Cat Show. Up next, we have Nico. Nico is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right. A group known especially for their sunspot sleeping, ball chasing, leg rubbing, and of course, companionship. Just look how she struts.
It's like she owns the place.
And see how she curls up and cuddles her person.
The pitch on her purring is simply perfect.
Nice one.
Fantastic cat. But really the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Nico is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
We're back, and we are sharing this lovely, super helpful time with Lloyd Burnett. And just before we left, there's two things I think it's so loving how you said, you know what, there's some people who we have these things that we maybe need to or want to face, but we either just push ourselves through or we ignore it. But then the third option, as you said, I kind of tagged it as, we need to talk to and explore and be curious about the parts that are there to protect us. And I kind of came up with that, like what you had said, that it's not trying to sabotage us, we're trying to protect ourselves. And I want to just go back into that part, because this is where a lot of pain can be, whether it's just from success or love or abundance. And I love your pool analogy. That is perfect.
Mm-hmm. It is good. Yeah. It's like you can force the kid to get into the pool and just push him into the pool, but that wouldn't be very loving and compassionate. And you're going to end up having to pay for a lot of therapy for that child.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you can tell him, okay, you don't have to get into the pool, and then he misses out on something that deep down inside he really wants to try out. Or you can just support him in expanding the perspective and vision with love and compassion.
Oh, I love that you brought up that he could miss out. You know what? I think that's a biggie. We don't even think about that one. If you don't, oh my goodness, that's a big one for me right now. I don't know why, but it is. I love it.
It's huge, Lisa. It makes perfect sense that it's something that you see as really big, because we have so much potential and we can always experience more. That's the reason why we're here on this planet, to experience the universe. And the universe is infinity. The universe is vast. It's never ending. So there's always more that we can experience. But when we have these wounds that we are not willing to lovingly and compassionately explore, we cut ourselves off from experiencing the more, and we just continue to experience what we have already experienced. So in essence, we're not doing our job. We're not taking responsibility for what our job is on this planet, and that is to express the universe. That's how the universe gets to know itself, through our expression. So if we're not striving to experience more, if we're not allowing ourselves to reach for the stars and continue experiencing more, we're not doing our jobs as human beings. And it's not that, we have to point our fingers at these people and say, you're not doing your jobs, that's bad. It's absolutely fine. There's no judgment in it whatsoever. It's just that there's so much more out there that you're not experiencing it. And if you're okay with that, beautiful. If you're not okay with that, then let's get to work.
Right. I think it's a great time for me to bring this up. You and I had a little mini chat before the show, a week or two, I think now, 2 weeks ago. And I had, been very open and honest with you and said, I'm having an issue with, I'm afraid of bugs, like terribly, but specifically wasps, because my fear is I really could be hurt. And you're so loving and said, you know what, why don't you talk to that part that had the fear? And I really, I listened to you and I wrote that down, and I was like, I'm going to do this. And subconsciously, I'm going to admit here, I was like, I have had this problem this is not going to work, right? Because I'm thinking that. and maybe, I don't know if it's like maybe there's even a fear, like, what if I'm not afraid? Then everybody will think I had been lying before that I was that afraid. My owning that identity. Well, Lloyd, I had that conversation with myself and then went to bed, and something absolutely magical. Now, I'm not saying I'm not afraid of bugs, especially wasps like that. I'm not there yet. However, you know what? And people noticed this around me. I didn't jump and run around like a crazy person. I was like, get it away. And what happened because of that was I was able to sit outside and enjoy my cup of tea a little longer, or enjoy that time with as opposed to, no, I'm going in. I'm not sitting out here, And I want to thank you. And so for listeners who really are out there and they do have these wounds, I think having a conversation, do you believe that it's, even if you are just willing to try to have these conversations, that no matter what your expectation is or your fear is, that it might do something, like it's going to help somewhere?
Of course. Anytime you can bring love and compassion to yourself, there is going to be major results that begin to unfold. They may not be immediately visible to your human eye, but things begin to unfold and unravel. And what you just explained is a perfect example of one of the subtle changes that happen. You get to experience more of your day outside. Part of that day that you would have never experienced if you had not sat down with the part of you that was afraid of this work around the wasps. So, I mean, did the fear magically disappear? No. And the idea of this work is not to make your fears disappear. Fears are absolutely important. They're our gateway into unconditional love and into high vibration. They show up for a reason. They give us an opportunity to love parts of ourselves that we normally wouldn't love. And what happens when you love something that you normally put conditions on? Unconditional love. So they're a gateway. They're your access point.
I never thought of that. When you, oh my goodness, hold on. I need to highlight that. Okay. when that's so perfectly said. Unconditional love is, and everybody's listening going, of course it means that, Lisa. But, because we place conditions on that acceptance and that love. And that's why that part,
if we don't place any conditions, then if we don't have any fears, then we have no opportunity to experience unconditional love. It just can't happen because there's not something that we can love unconditionally. We just experience love, and that's it.
Wow. Well, I'm taking all this in, and I'm just now wow, what a gateway over here for me. I woke up thinking about vision boards this morning, and I used to be not afraid, but I really didn't. I'm not doing a vision board like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna put it all out there, express what I want, and and then I started finally accepting that no, this is fun. I want to do this. I have just learned that you do vision boards, and I do want to talk a lot about them. But the first question I want to ask you is, loving all parts of yourself. Do you think that some people may not even be able to visualize or dream about something just because they don't love that part, and then they can't manifest abundance and stuff? Like, how could you help them? How can we help anybody get there to that part to even create a vision board?
Yes. The first part of any type of personal growth work or manifestation work is working with your fears. That is the first part, because if you have parts that are afraid of manifesting the abundance or the love or the success, then there's no way of making space for that in your life. And people, they always like to say, oh, well, Lloyd, I'm not afraid of manifesting money. I'm not afraid of manifesting love. I've wanted that for such a long time. And I always tell them, take a deep breath and let's go inside, because you will always, if it's something that's not in your reality right now, you will always be able to find a part of you that learns that having whatever it is that you want can be dangerous. For an example, with money, you learned that, money is the root of all evil, or if you have a lot of money, that means that other people don't have a lot, or if you have a lot of money, there comes a lot of responsibility, or if you have a lot of money, people will always want to borrow it from you, and you'll have to set boundaries, or people want to take advantage of you, or you'll lose it and people make fun of you.
If you so many of these things.
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, for anything that anybody wants to manifest, love. If you love someone, if you fully allow yourself to love someone, they may leave, they may hurt you. And so to save yourself from that hurt or being left, a part of you protects you by repelling and rejecting love in your life, or only attracting superficial love, those people that, this isn't going to go very deep, but I'm just going to have a little fun with this person. So these parts of you, they attract superficial love, or they reject any opportunity for deep love because they learned that it's painful, that it's dangerous. Success, same thing. If you allow yourself to be fully seen in your authentic essence, and you really allow your purpose to shine, people may reject you and they may not like you. And that hurts if somebody says that they don't like something that is authentically you. The parts of us, they block us from manifesting the success that we want. They bring in protection tools like procrastination, distraction, Facebook. They bring in all of these things to stop us from manifesting the thing that we want with our conscious mind.
Okay. This is another biggie. This show's full of biggies here. You mentioned superficial. Okay. Loving this right now because I was thinking about, what if somebody was not quite accepting that they had a fear of success, so they were creating superficial successes, just enough to convince themselves and others so that then when it fails or they crash, that they either could blame something else, or like how does I'm just thinking about this. How do we know what level it is in our lives, whether it's a superficial thing or a deep thing?
Well, you can kind of, let's see. So if you're trying to manifest, let's stick with success. All right. So you're trying to manifest success, and you're noticing that you're receiving a little bit of success, but you're not receiving the deep joy from what the success that you're manifesting in. Most likely you're doing something that is not authentically your purpose. It's not what wants to fully come through you. And so why do we do this? We do this because if we kind of manifest a little bit of success with something and then we fail at it in the future, we can say, oh, it didn't really matter. I didn't really like, working in that bar, or I didn't really like that project anyway. So it doesn't hurt as badly. So if you're noticing that you're manifesting a little bit of success and you're content with it, but there's a drive for more, that in your heart that you're worthy of more and that you can achieve more and there's more potential in you, and you'll get to a point where that music inside of you will get so loud that you can't do anything but follow it. Or self-medicate and try to make it go away. So if you notice that you're experiencing a little bit of success, but there's a deep drive, and there's also comparing to others, looking at others in jealousy of what they're achieving, then you know that you can kind of begin to explore the idea of maybe I am blocking myself from experiencing the deep success that I am capable of experiencing, because a part of me is afraid of what will happen if people really see the true me. Because to experience deep success with the way consciousness is evolving right now, and the way, not just consciousness, the economy and the way people spend money, to experience deep success, you have to give something that is raw and authentic. Take music, for example. Look at all of the artists that fill stadiums. Why do they fill stadiums? Because they physically, well, I guess not literally, but they open up their heart to the world. And we can look at their heart and be like, oh my God, I see myself and I can't believe it yet.
You know what? That commercial always speaks up. So when we come back, I'm going to jump back into that, filling the stadium. Hold on, Joe.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human. And she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
We're back having a very fantastic conversation with Lloyd Burnett, enjoying every piece of it. And Lloyd, just before we were talking about something very important and deep and heavy, but I always have to take an opportunity when I can to talk about football. And and I just love it so much. And of course, I was watching the late game last night. And one thing you said is when you do something, you know, when we are doing something raw and authentic, we can really fill that stadium. And as I was watching, this is one thing I do love watching football is I am watching the game, but I'm also looking at, like, look how many people they want to see it. They want to be a part of it. They want to physically go and feel that energy and that vibration. And it allows, in a weird way, I'm going deep on this one. I know when I'm watching or even a concert or if I was at a football game, it's about me, actually. Isn't that funny? I'm going there and I'm supporting the team and doing that, but it's actually because they are reflecting something in me that is authentic, like what you just said, and that allows me to love the parts that maybe are unlovable. Do you think that by witnessing, like, we can be leaders, and by witnessing others love the parts of themselves, it helps us to love our parts too?
Yeah, especially that's a perfect example with football. You have a group, a large number of people living their purpose. Those people on the football field, they are meant to be on this planet to play football and to inspire the joy and the inspiration and the fans around the world. And so the energy is just contagious. You just go there and you just lose yourself in the vibration of being in your purpose, and people go crazy at these sporting events.
Yes,
just
or in your own backyard
and everything. Exactly.
I think my neighbors don't let, like, when I watch football, it's on my phone because I'm loud, and but that's me being authentic. I tell the cats out loud that I love them all the time too, and I always think, I want to lead that, though. I hear people yelling at their animals, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna scream it from the rooftops that they're perfect and I love them. So they go,
oh,
but yeah. So really jumping back into that, loving those parts. Now, I heard something, I can't remember now if it was on the video, but you said this, because these little golden nuggets. At one point, I heard you say that we are sleeping on our own power. And I don't know if you remember when you said that or what you said, but what does that, explain that to me, because I love that. We're sleeping on our own power.
It's like a homeless person who is outside sleeping on a bed of gold. They have a gold bed, but they're sleeping outside, and they believe that they're homeless. They actually believe that they don't have the means to buy a home. And that's the same thing with us and our manifestation power. We're so convinced, we believe the illusion that we are powerless. The parts of us that have learned that it's scary to be in power or to own your power, or that bad things happen because of power, because there are a lot of shadow elements of power. Those parts of us block us from seeing the truth, which is we are incredibly powerful. We are co-creators of our reality, and we have the power to call different energies into our reality. I don't think it's as magical, like in terms of like magical, fantastic thinking, where you say that you want $1 million and a check shows up the next day. I think the co-creation with the universe, the real co-creation, is a little bit different, where you call in an energy that you want, and you are so not attached to getting exactly what you want that something even better that you could have never imagined, you could have never thought of, shows up into your life. And so, yeah, we have so much power. And when we allow ourselves to actually use this power, when we first do the work of healing the wounds around using our power, then we'll see that we have the power to command things into our reality. We have the power to live in joy and to live in love and to live in gratitude. But many of us are so caught up in the illusion that we're just asleep. Our eyes are closed and we can't see that we actually have this power.
That makes sleeping on your power, like those both words now. It's not just your sleep, like you're asleep on your power.
Exactly.
You brought the word illusion, and I think I need some help actually now to could you tell me clearly there's a difference, but the difference between an illusion and a shadow?
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So the shadow is just repressed parts of ourselves, or repressed energies, repressed energies from our development, things that we haven't owned, things that we've disowned, things that we're afraid to own, and those things, they don't go away. So I mean, it could be anything from, you know, you're growing up and you draw a picture and it's not received with the love and compassion that you expected it to be received with. And so you begin to feel like your artwork isn't good enough. And so this part of you that believes that you're not good enough, that you're not talented enough, you're not creative enough, it hurts to really believe that. And so what we do is we put it in the shadow so that we don't have to see it. And so we disassociate ourselves from that belief that we're not good enough, that we were taught in whatever relationship that happened. We disassociate ourselves from that, and we begin to project it on other people. We begin to become critical of other people and their artwork and their creativity. And then after we project it onto other people, we then project it on art and creativity itself. Art sucks. Creativity, like nowadays, it's terrible. You know, nothing is good. Nothing good is coming out of the world anymore. Art is dead. And so these are just shadow elements of ourselves. They're manifestations of the shadow elements of ourselves that we're not owning. And it's perfect that we do this projection like this, because we can start to notice what we are projecting onto others and what we're projecting onto the world, and then begin to reverse engineer that to see what's in our shadow. And we can see, oh, okay, it's because I feel that I'm not good enough. I feel that I'm not creative enough. And that is why I'm criticizing others, and that's why I'm criticizing art in general. Does that make sense with the shadow?
Yes, it absolutely does. And I love that when you said when we we've placed it in shadow. I love that. Like, that takes ownership of it as well. I love that.
Exactly.
And so now having that shadow, first of all, I think I thought of about a bazillion people who, in my mind, I would be like, wow, they're really unhappy. Like what you had said, oh, this sucks, that sucks. But really it makes me have even more compassion, because it just means a part of them inside is hurting and needs that, like we talked about earlier, that support. And now if we take an illusion, is this, because we get to create our reality. So reality in a weird way is our illusion. But like when we use the word illusion, is that not good or bad, but kind of like, is it a good or bad thing?
It's an untruth. That's what an illusion is. It's something that it just is not true. It's pulling the wool over our eyes. It's us seeing something and believing something that isn't true. And so it's a part of shadow. It's an energy of shadow. It comes from shadow, but it's just anything that is not true that we convince ourselves is true. And these illusions, they can be really real, that we believe that there are reality. And illusions are interesting because something can be real for you in one moment, and then you grow and evolve and you learn, and it's no longer true for you. But you still believe that it's true because it creates a sense of certainty. It's part of your identity. You've known it to be true for so long, and you're afraid to get rid of that idea. And so you fool yourself into believing that is true, even though it was true in the past. But right now, after you have grown spiritually, mentally, physically, it is no longer true.
Wow. So, that's like a whole other level of wherever the people are and their self. They say, no, but I love that part of me. I really do love that part. But they're like, no, I don't though.
Yeah. I'm getting an example of like the gym right now. I worked as a personal trainer years ago, and many times people, they just had this illusion that they couldn't do specific exercises. And for so long they've been saying, oh, I can't do this, or I can't lift that amount of weight. I'm like, okay, are you willing to investigate this illusion? Yes. All right, get down on the bench and I will support you in moving through this. And they end up lifting the weight, and they're like, oh my God, I thought that I couldn't do this. Of course you thought that you couldn't do it because you were believing the illusion.
Oh, wow. Okay, and I love that now. I know that you've done personal training. Of course, that fits so well with you because you're kind of helping people develop personally in all areas. So I'm not surprised that you did that. But so I'm imagining a listener right now, and they're saying, okay, I've got these parts of me that I want to love, and maybe I do, but I just really right now feel I don't. I know I have fears. I'm scared to investigate the fear. How could one feel safe enough to, like, because they can all call you, of course, but could they, maybe through meditation or something like vision? How would somebody even start?
Yeah, it's tricky because with meditation is a great tool, but meditation doesn't support us in re-owning our shadow, re-owning the parts of us that we don't believe are worthy of love. Meditation is all about separating yourself from the thoughts and witnessing the thoughts, knowing that you aren't the thoughts. But what happens is when you have parts that are abandoned and in the shadows, those have to be reintegrated first. And when you disassociate yourself from them through meditation, you take yourself farther and farther away from that reintegration and that wholeness. So yes, meditation is a beautiful, beautiful, absolutely beautiful tool, but there's also some work around integrating the parts of you that are in the shadows that is necessary to get the fullest experience of meditation. So just allowing yourself to become aware that there are parts of you that you do not like, and to speak that out loud, to just say that truth is a huge step. It's really big, and you'll begin to notice the energy moving, saying it out loud. Okay, I'm hiding that I'm afraid of intimacy, and I don't want anybody to know that about me. I'm pretending like I'm really social and like I love everybody and I'm really easygoing with everybody, but the fact is I'm very anxious and nervous, and I'm hiding that. I'm afraid that people will find out that I'm an anxious, nervous wreck. All right, so where does this energy of being anxious and nervous come from? Where did I learn that it's scary or dangerous to interact with others? Well, I learned that when I was younger and XYZ happened. Oh, okay. And so you just basically ask questions. That's all it is. You ask questions, and you'll always get taken back a little bit further.
And as we go on that trail of questions, because the commercials are going to sneak up there, I want to follow that path. I knew it, eh? When we come back, we're going to continue that little trail.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
Me, a cat, moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
And we are back speaking with Lloyd Burnett as we love all of our parts, and in order to love all those parts, we have some questioning and some reassociating to do and reintegrating those parts that have been so separated from us as we push them away into the shadow, as I'm learning. I love this. And Lloyd, these questions are so good, and I love that you started the first thing, like I just to kind of go through that the trail of questions. I love that the first thing is, and it does have a huge impact because I know because of the WASP thing with me, is just even to acknowledge and bring it into the light to say, I am afraid of this, or I don't love this, or I don't want this, or something. Yeah. So if we continue that path, you took us from there to being curious and questioning of why. And then from there, where do we go?
Yeah, and it's interesting. Even that first step sometimes can just be enough, because it may not be that we need to like figure out where it came from or how it started. It's just that these parts of us, they need to know the truth. They've been lied to for so long, and they need to know the truth that right now, you know what? I really don't think I'm beautiful, and I'm scared that people think that I'm ugly, or I'm scared that people think that I'm not rich, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not intelligent enough. Sometimes just that truth is enough to bring huge healing. So you acknowledge, and then you begin to investigate. And as you begin to investigate and you ask questions, what happens is you realize exactly why you have that fear. You get all of the information from the past of all of those, your parts. They begin to show you all of the instances when life confirmed that you weren't worthy, or that you weren't smart enough, or that you weren't good enough. You begin to get all of those memories, all of those images, all of those feelings back, and you can start to feel them. Because as you bring these triggers, these moments of trigger back into your mind, something's going to happen in your body. You're going to start feeling, awakening the emotion that you didn't feel safe enough to have in that moment. The tears are going to come to you, the sadness, the anger. And so you allow yourself to feel those emotions. You express those emotions. And that is one of the most healing things ever. After you start expressing those emotions, those trapped emotions that you didn't even know were present, a burden starts to lift. You start to feel lighter because you don't have the density of those suppressed and repressed emotions any longer holding you down. And so it's not that the fears go away after you release that energy of the emotions, but you feel lighter to be able to take action and keep your parts safe at the same time. You begin to notice when you're afraid of doing something, and you can be like, for an example, there's a child a boy that's afraid of driving across bridges. So for a long time, his mother avoids all of the bridges in town, and it's kind of complicated to do that. And so she's like, okay, so we're going to go over a bridge. And she decides that she's going to support her son in experiencing and expressing all of the emotions that he has around driving over this bridge. And she holds him, she loves him as they drive over the bridge. He wails and screams, and then they get to the other side. And so what happens is that he was allowed in the container of love and compassion to express all of this energy. And now there's more space for him to say, okay, I survived driving over the bridge. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought. So we can do this with our parts. We can hold them, love them, be compassionate, allow ourselves to have all of the emotions, be 100% with the parts of us that are afraid, and still drive across the bridge and still keep going. And that's what happens when you lighten the load of the emotions, when you allow yourself to have that emotional reaction that wanted to happen whenever the initial wounding happened. You feel lighter, and you're able to take inspired action and keep the parts of you that are afraid safe at the same time, rather than be completely paralyzed and debilitated and getting what you want to get.
Oh, what a great analogy, or not story. Actually, that's for real. Like, I'm thinking that you actually had that with a son and mother. Was he truly afraid of crossing the bridge?
It just came to me one day. I made it up. I was just sitting there and I was like, oh, okay, this works perfectly. I'm sure it's happened somewhere.
No, actually, that's so true. And you know what's funny? When you said something about fears being that density and that's why you feel the lightness and stuff. My mom was actually afraid of crossing bridges, so like on cars. So I'm right there, and I know my dad would avoid, all bridges and stuff. And if we had to go over it, she would brace herself and close her eyes, and just it was just a nightmare for her. But it reminds me when you said when life confirmed something for you. And sometimes life can confirm it as an illusion, and sometimes we have to revisit it because, as you said, we can grow and expand and heal and change. And it might be an illusion, but when it was a truth originally.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We're constantly growing. We're constantly evolving. Things that were true for us. Think about it, like things that were true for you when you were a child are no longer true for you now. You may have believed the boogeyman lived under your bed, and you probably don't believe that now. So we're constantly evolving and growing because we're getting more information. We're evolving spiritually. We're expanding. So stuff that we believed in the past is no longer true now, but there are certain beliefs that we cling on to for dear life, and all they want to do is be released. They want to be let go of so that we can continue expanding and growing.
That's so beautiful way of saying that. Now, if there's people out there right now, because I know there are, who really feel like they need somebody, they need some help and to hold them as they go over the bridge, and they would love to reach out to you because I know you just offer so many resources for free on site and online, but also let's let everybody know how they can get in touch with you because we still have some more to go, but I don't want to run out of time and then they can't find you. So where can they find you and use your beautiful energy to help them?
Oh, good. So you can find me I have a special gift for everybody, actually. You can go to Lloyd Burnett, and that's LLOYDBURNETT.com/healing training. And it's a webinar that I created to support people in harnessing the power of their fear, the energy of their fear. Wow. And so you can all access this training. It's about a 90-minute training. You can access it for free. And at the end of the training, there's an opportunity to go deeper with me. I only work like individually or in groups with people who have done initial trainings with me. So initial products. They've done the work on their own and they're ready to receive more support. So the way of getting access to me and the work that I do is through attending one of these trainings and and working through one of the products.
That is something that I'm so glad you brought that out. Here's a question and what you said when you said people who, and I remember this, you work with people who are ready to move forward and move the energies around. How does one, so working with one of your products before, how does one know that they're ready? Means like they're just tired of being stuck?
Ready means that anybody who's listening to this right now is ready. It means that you're beginning to draw the resources into your life that will support you in moving forward. You're drawing these resources, and there's going to come a moment when you're like, all right, let's do this. And you'll take a little step or a giant step forward. But anybody who's listening to this is ready. Nobody who isn't ready to love their parts is going to come to a show called Loving All Parts of You.
Yeah, that's so true. we just announced, we called everybody who was exactly ready. I love that. And
exactly.
So I have got to see a few things, just even something that circulates around you for me, and I'm a word person, but it's funny when I think of you and this word, I actually feel this word, and you've actually been the first person to highlight the pluralization, like you've pluralized energy for me. I used to only see the word energy and think of, it's energy work, it's energy this. You actually have said the energies many times, and
yes.
As I have a whole new relationship now with that word, I feel like you've expanded that for me, and I do believe that. Well, you work with energies. I just in closing. If you could, it feels like that's important to me. We've got a minute left or so, and if you could share with me, like, what do you mean when you're saying energies, like energies?
Mm-hmm. So when I say energies, what I mean is energy of different frequencies. So you have low vibration energies and you have high vibration energies and everything in between. So every energy has a specific frequency, and that specific frequency will feel differently in your body or in your experience. When you experience the energy of love, it feels a certain way in your body. When you experience the energy of hate, it feels another way in your body. So when I say energies, I just mean the different frequencies. And there's no judgment of this is low vibration energy is bad or high vibration energy is good. They're just low and they're high, and they feel certain ways in your experience. And when you allow yourself to take away the judgment of these different frequencies of vibration, then, like I said earlier, you get access to the low vibration energies that allow you to access the high vibration energies. So you love your fears, or you love the parts of you that are afraid, and that gives you access to unconditional love. And what else is of the same frequency as unconditional love? Unconditional, unlimited abundance, unlimited success. That's all the same frequency.
All that frequency. Well, I just feel that everybody's feeling that beautiful, non-judgmental, but really flowing energy from you. And it's Lloyd Burnett. And I'm going to post that link anyways, because everybody, please, this is a free training. Come join Lloyd and just feel his energy that allows your energy. Thank you so much, Lloyd, for sharing this time with me. It's been a beautiful time.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I have really enjoyed our conversation, and I'm looking forward to supporting anybody in your community that wants support.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, then, everybody, let's love all parts. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.